An associate professor of DU's Hindu College was arrested, is currently on bail. He's just received bail by the Tis Hazari Court for his alleged objectionable remarks that he made on a Shivling that was claimed to have been found inside the Varanasi's Gyamvapi Mosque complex. Ratan Lal's lawyer had moved for bail on the grounds that the offences were all bailable, that he was arrested in a wrongful manner. The DU professor was arrested over an FIR filed by a Delhi-based lawyer. In his complaint, the advocate Vineet Jindal had said that Mr. Lal had shared a derogatory, insightful and provocative tweet on Shivling. BJP had hailed Ratan Lal's arrest, slamming him for hurting religious beliefs. Meanwhile, the Congress's Digvijay Singh has taken to Twitter to condemn the arrest, saying that he has the right to express his views. In fact, Ratan Lal was arrested for promoting enmity between different groups on grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language. Now, all of these charges, according to Ratan Lal's counsel, is bailable.
Treasures of the world, all that is we Indians pride ourselves on, all our heritage, would not have happened if we had not had the space to think, to talk, to write, to discuss. So that is my concern. That do we really care for India? If I believe कि मेरा भारत महान, तो हमें उतना ही महान जगह तैयार करना है.
देख सकते हैं, समझ सकते हैं कि इस गिरफ्तारी से एक मैसेज देने की कोशिश है। और वो मैसेज क्या है? वो मैसेज है कि डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के खिलाफ अगर कोई आवाज बुलंद होगा तो उसे बंद कर दिया जाएगा। कम्युनल सवाल के जो कम्युनल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, उस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन को उठाने का ही काम किया था रतन लाल ने, और उसको सांप्रदायिक सौहार्द बिगाड़ने का जो तरीका है वो आरएसएस और भाजपा ने किया है। और ये एफआईआर उसके बाद अगला कदम है कि जो भी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के खिलाफ बोलेगा उसको बंद कर दिया जाएगा।
इतना आपत्तिजनक बात उसके अंदर लिखी गई थी कि मैं उसको मेंशन नहीं करना चाहूंगा। उसको लेकर मैंने जो धार्मिक भावनाएं आहत हुई, मेरी भी बीइंग अ हिंदू, और जो और इतने सारे लोगों जो इस चीज को लेकर बहुत सेंसिटिव थे, मैंने एक शिकायत दिल्ली पुलिस साइबर सेल नॉर्थ के पास लॉन्च किया, जिसके बाद एक एफआईआर लॉन्च हुआ। और एफआईआर के बाद मैं 2 दिन से यही इंतजार कर रहा था कि कब अरेस्टिंग होगा। कल रात को मुझे इन्फॉर्मेशन मिला था कि दे आर गोइंग टू अरेस्ट रतन लाल। इन फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच को जो लोग जानते हैं उनको पता है फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच विद सर्टेन लिमिटेशंस। अगर ऐसा नहीं होता तो ये एफआईआर लॉन्च नहीं होती।
After the arrest of DU Professor Ratan Lal over an alleged post over the Gyamvapi row, you can see that Delhi University students have called for a protest outside the arts faculty. Their demand is to release the professor, and that's why you can see these students who have gathered outside the arts faculty right now. We'll go across to the students to understand what their demand is.
Recently, Modi government is curbing the democratic voices. Whoever raise a voice against their politics, the divisive politics which they are doing in this country, whoever raising their voice, they are curbing their voices.
As you heard the person, they say that the post could be objectionable, but the way it's being dealt with is wrong. You may not have a similar opinion, but to take it to arrest is something that they deny, and that is why they've gathered over here calling for the release of Professor Ratan Lal. With video journalist Abhishek Bai, this is Surety for India Today.
All right, let me quickly cut across to Amit Bhardwaj, who's currently joining us live for a little insight into what exactly has happened here. Amit, Ratan Lal has now been granted bail from the Tis Hazari Court, but not without a whopping 50,000 rupees as a surety bond to secure his bail. Now, a couple of sections that have been leveled against him, one of which is trying to incite communal violence or trying to disrupt harmony and communal peace. And all of the other sections, according to the counsel of Ratan Lal, are all bailable, and that he was arrested unlawfully, and it was wrong for the police to arrest him without a notice, without giving an option to even justify himself. Now that he's out on bail, have you managed to speak to him? What's the sentiment?
Nabila, the big news that we are getting from the bail order itself, we have accessed the copy of the bail order of Ratan Lal case, and the CMM who granted bail to Ratan Lal, the Delhi University faculty, has clearly mentioned that not only Ratan Lal will have to provide 50,000 rupees surety bond, but he has been also barred from making any social media posts or media interviews regarding the controversy. So clearly the court has instructed Ratan Lal to restrain himself, to refrain from putting anything regarding this particular controversy on social media, as well as giving interviews on this particular controversy. But we had spoken to the lawyer of Ratan Lal, advocate Mukesh, and he said that his client was actually wrongfully arrested, and the ground for that claim was, number one, he said that Delhi police did not provide any notice to his client, and his client was not provided enough opportunity to clarify his stance. Number one. Number two, he said that it seems that the entire FIR and the complaint was lodged in the first place in order to get some attention. So clearly Ratan Lal's lawyer is now putting allegations on the other side. Remember, the advocate Jindal in this case had lodged this complaint with Delhi police, saying that Ratan Lal's post had actually hurt the religious sentiment, and that is why a case should be registered in this particular case. So these are the two central arguments. Number one, Delhi police did not give enough opportunity, notice for Ratan Lal to clarify about his post. Number two, that the FIR or the complaint was made out in order to gauge media attention. That is the claim of Ratan Lal's lawyer. And during the arguments in the court as well, in front of Siddharth Malik, the chief MM at Tis Hazari Court, there were arguments made out from the Ratan Lal's lawyer that he's an academician, he's a known faculty of the Delhi University, so there is no risk of him running away. Moreover, he is somebody who follows Lord Shiva. So this particular claim, the charges that has been pressed against Ratan Lal in this particular case, two charges. Number one, which can promote enmity between the two communities, and other which can actually provoke communities and disrupt peace. So both the charges cannot be applicable in this particular case. And Ratan Lal's lawyer also said that the charges could have been actually made out as bailable charges, but deliberately such sections have been used so that Ratan Lal can be arrested in this particular case. So these were the arguments made out by the Ratan Lal's lawyers in front of the chief MM of Tis Hazari Court. The chief MM heard the arguments of both sides. Delhi police obviously had opposed the bail petition being put forward by Ratan Lal's lawyers, and in doing so, Delhi police had said that if a learned person like him can make such posts, and if he is not jailed, there will be risk of other people following the same precedent, following the similar habit or manner, and that is why.
Stay with us, Amit. In fact, Ratan Lal's lawyer has just spoken. In fact, DU Professor's order copy has been accessed, and it appears that the counsel of Ratan Lal has, of course, hit out at the police for arbitrarily arresting Ratan Lal, saying that they were all offences that were bailable. There was no need for the police to arrest him without a notice. And of course, that Ratan Lal made a comment with some humour, and people's threshold for humour is low. He can't do much. Everyone has the liberty to speak their mind. As per the constitution, that's what the council says. But here's the lawyer of Ratan Lal who speaks right after Ratan Lal receives bail.
पर एलिगेशन ये है कि ज्ञानवापी मंदिर के या मंदिर या मस्जिद के अंदर एक आकृति मिली थी, जिसको कुछ लोग जो है फुवारा क्लेम कर रहे हैं और कुछ लोग उसको शिव मंदिर क्लेम कर रहे हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा था कि भाई ये मुझे नहीं लगता कि एक जो शब्द है, प्रॉपर शब्द मैं आपके चैनल के माध्यम से नहीं बोलना चाहता, तो उन्होंने एक कमेंट किया और उस कमेंट को लेकर कुछ लोगों ने उनके ऊपर एक जो है फेक FIR करा दी। FIR करने के बाद जो है पुलिस ने दबाव में, या हम कह सकते हैं कि इलीगली, उनको कल रात उनके घर से अरेस्ट किया, और अरेस्ट करने के बाद जब हमको पता लगा तो हमने आज बेल एप्लीकेशन जो है कोर्ट में मूव की।
All right, that's Ratan Lal's counsel who says that the police illegally arrested the DU professor. He merely made a comment in a humorous way. He should be allowed to justify himself, but without a notice, the police stormed into his house in the night, arrested him over alleged derogatory post that he put on social media. He says that some people's threshold for humor is low. that does not mean that the police first of all take in an FIR, register an FIR and then arrest him without a proper notice. All these grounds that all those sections that were leveled against him were all bailable. Despite that, the police arrested him without giving an opportunity for Ratan Lal to justify himself. Ratan Lal has now been granted bail for a surety bond of 50,000 rupees. Let me cut across to Amit Bharadwaj. Amit, while we're looking at students of DU extensively protesting and slamming the police for arresting Ratan Lal, you also have the BJP who's hailed the arrest and condemning Ratan Lal's so-called humour and claims that he tried to hurt Hindu religious sentiment. What were the political reactions came in as we saw?
There are two kind of reactions that is coming out in this particular case. Obviously, the students of Delhi University, belonging from the left organizations as well as the Ambedkarite organizations had come out in big numbers today outside the arts faculty, and they continued their protests right from the morning up till the noon, till the time when the hearing started here at Tis Hazari Court. And there were slogans being raised against Delhi police, against the arrest of Ratan Lal. And there's another protest which is being called in the Jawaharlal Nehru University against the arrest of Professor Ratan Lal. So clearly this is one side of the chapter where you could see the solidarity coming out. Students, faculty members from universities coming out in support of Associate Professor Ratan Lal, who is faculty at Delhi University's reputed Hindu college. But the other side, leaders from the Bharatiya Janata Party and including the lawyer who had lost that complaint against Associate Professor Ratan Lal, they have said that, this was not humor. This is the arguments made out by Ratan Lal cannot be considered humor, and it was a clear-cut attempt to hurt the sentiments of the Hindu community. So clearly there is a political divide, political showdown in this particular case as well. But as for the facts of the matter are concerned, the case was discussed in the court today. There were speculations whether Associate Professor Ratan Lal will get relief from the court or not. And the Tis Hazari CMM Siddharth Malik found it right enough, good enough to grant bail to Ratan Lal in this particular case. There are two serious allegations, charges which has been pressed against the Delhi University faculty. However, those charges were not good enough for the court. At least after the arguments, the way both sides argued today in the court felt that the Delhi University faculty can be granted bail with a surety bond of rupees 50,000. But what needs to be noted here, Nabila, is that now there are restrictions which have been posed against Ratan Lal in this particular case. He has been asked to refrain, strictly, directed to refrain from making any comments on social media as well as giving interviews as far as this controversy is concerned. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Amit, for joining us with those details. There you have it, visuals coming in of those protests that took place outside DU University asking for Ratan Lal to be immediately released. He's now got bail, but not without a surety bond that he needs to cough up 50,000 rupees to secure his bail.